All right, man, space heater just arrived. So I'm gonna be enjoying this tonight because it's been really cold. We just got out of a snowstorm. Let's see what we've got in the box. Quick start guide. Is this tape or something? Yes, it is. Hold on. In here we have the remote. We have some screws. And the reason I need those screws is because I need to attach the wheels to this thing. You already saw the power cord. It was kind of attached to the instructions. So let's get out the styrofoam. And there's the heater itself. I need to use both hands to get it out. Took the heater out. I had to make sure I didn't open this upside down because the bottom of the heater was at the top. But I see why they did that. I think they did that to emphasize that I still need to put the wheels on it. So this pretty much explains itself. You can see the 4 holes where the screws go. So I'm going to line up the wheels with this and get those secured in place. Well, that was easy. And they use thumb screws for all of these, so that is like one of the easiest types of screws to put in place because you don't need any tools. I'm going to turn this right side up and glance through the instruction manual before I turn it on. I've read through the instruction manual and this thing is pretty easy to use. So I have a model that has a timer, which you can set for 24 hours. You can see there's up and down temperature, and then there's a mode setting. There's also a child lock on this, but there's no children in my house, so I'm not going to be using that feature. The remote uses one of those coin batteries. In this case, it's a CR2025 battery. So that looks like the one that you might use like in an AirTag, but it is a lot thicker. So they have the battery disconnected because of this plastic tab. When I pull this out, I'll be able to start using the remote. I'm going to turn this on very briefly. I will point out the instructions say keep it like 5 feet away from doors, windows, other things. You can see I'm closer to 5 feet to some other things, but it's going to be on very brief, so it shouldn't matter. So let's just press the power button. Okay, it's turned on, H3. So this has different heating modes. Let's see, if I hit this, yep. Okay, so it has different heating modes depending on the temperature you put it on. So we can see the eco setting is on. So it says it's going to use the most appropriate mode depending on the difference between your current temperature and what temperature you want it set at. So I set it to 70. Here we can set the timer. So let's see if I hit plus. Okay, there we go. So I can set the timer in hours. Does this wrap around? Yes, it does. So I can set the timer for up to 24 hours and it will turn off after that. And now it's set, but I don't actually want it for 24 hours. So that's timer off. That's 1 hour. Okay, so now it's set. Anything else on here? If you don't like the sounds, there's a mute button. Notice that the mute button is only on a remote. There doesn't seem to be a way to get to the mute button without the remote. Let me turn that back off. Okay. There's a light button on here. I guess this turns off the display. So, okay, if you're sleeping and you need to get, and if you wanted to have less lights, then that's good to have, but it does still show the indicators that let you know it's plugged in and that it's heating. Okay, and if I start to mess with it after that, the display automatically turns back on. Will it turn off on its own? I guess it does not. So if you want to turn it back off, oh wait, there it is. Okay, so it turns back off on its own. Let's turn that back on. I have no reason for it to be off right now. And I think that's pretty much everything. The only other thing I see that's on a remote, but I don't see on the heater itself, is I have a power button on a remote. I don't see there's a way to turn it off if you're using the panel itself. But that's fine because I primarily plan to use this with a remote. But I've got other things to do. I've gotten this out of the box, but I plan on enjoying this tonight.